to my head. And then pull the trigger. Come on. There's no way I can't!
Your attention, please. Today's train schedule will be modified due to a rail switching malfunction. We apologize for any inconvenience. The next stop is Iwatodai.
Iwatoda. This is the final train bound for Tatsumi Port Island. Please board before the scheduled departure time.
After a long trek, I've arrived at Iwatodai. This place I'm going to is a school dorm, but from what I understand, it's only temporary. Not that I really care when the sky is green, and there's upright coffins. I'll admit, it's quite strange, but eventually I made it to the dorm. When I entered, there was a boy there to greet me, a strange kid who seemed to have the power to teleport, but it also might just be my tiredness, you know. All I remember is signing a contract, knowing that everything that I do from now on is my responsibility, and while my name isn't orthodox, it'll work. The boy took my written agreement and left, not before being pretty ominous, to be honest.
Who's there? Don't tell me.
Wait!
Huh? The lights!
I'm not going to question almost having a gun drawn on school dorm, as they seem to have their own secrets, but I get introduced to the two girls. Of course, everyone knows the Kirijo group. It's hard not to in this part of Japan, but Takaba was nice enough, besides the initial idea of being shot, but I do wonder what that was all about. I don't think it really matters. I do make note that she knows nothing about the contract I signed, and that she asked about outside, but I played dumb. She seemed to fall for it, but tells me if I have any other questions, I should probably leave it for tomorrow, so I guess I should just get some shut-eye for now. April 7th. The day starts with the Takaba girl knocking on my door telling me she has been given a job to take me to my new school. So I might as well get it and done with.
This is how we'll be getting to school every day. It's a monorail. Pretty cool, huh? I honestly love the ride here. It almost feels like we're flying over the ocean. Oh, by the way, our school's at the last stop on this line. It's called Tatsumi Port Island. Have you heard of it? The whole thing's man-made, and our school's smack dab in the middle. Oh look, there it is now.
This is where you don't drink hot on Circle 3. It's meant to be cold.
Morning. Well, here we are. Allow me to welcome you to Gekukan High School. I hope you like it.
The school is rather massive. I guess that's to be expected when you go private, huh? Takaba pointed out the direction of the faculty office, and I decided to get introductions out of the way. When I entered, Fate showed me the teacher I'll be spending the year with. She seems rather scatterbrained, to be honest, but I guess that has its own charm to it. But I don't really care all that much, just like the opening ceremony. The principal is nice enough, I guess, but it's hard to really pay attention when I've got a gossip monger in my ear, thinking me and Takeba got something going on. Jeez, it's only been one day. Give me a fucking break, man. Sadly, fate doesn't have that in my cards, as yet again another person shows their face. This time, Junpei. He definitely likes the sound of his own voice, and I can't really stand people like that, but it seems both him and Takeba have some form of friendship, noting that who would thought we'd be in the same classroom, but it's just simply dumb luck. But then Junpei notes about rumors popping up. I guess people really have nothing else to do than think people are close. It doesn't help when Takeba strokes the fires in Junpei's brain, but it doesn't really affect me, it's just mindless dribble after all. Sadly, however, I've gotten myself linked up with Junpei for today. We make some small talk, and by small talk, he talks while I nod. Though, I guess the idea of joining a club does sound interesting. I wonder what my options are though. I'll find out sooner or later. For now, I head back to the dorm with an inquisitive Mitsuru asking me how my first day went. Exhausting is the best way to put it, but she thinks I'll get a hang of it eventually, which, fair I guess. For now though, I have a date with my bed. April 8th. I started the day off great by bombing a question in class, but it was to help Junpei, so at least I look less stupid in comparison. But that was pretty much it for today. Something I did make note of, however, was how bustling the mall is overall. I may need to give it a look when I'm used to this place, but for the time being, I headed back to the dorm. As I entered, the chairman for the school board was here. His name was Ikutsuki, asking for me to take a seat and apologizing for how long it's taking for them to find proper room assignment for me. That's when I seized the moment to tell him that I saw something weird last night, but he practically brushed it off, which makes me feel a tad suspicious, so I don't ask any more questions. Not before making what I can only assume was a joke, but calling it that would be an insult to comedy as an art form. I'm just glad that someone here can agree his jokes are awful. However, I listened to Takeba and decided to get some shut-eye because early bird gets the worm and all that nonsense.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
This is just getting weirder and weirder. I awoke inside an elevator of sorts. The man's name is Igor and his assistant is Elizabeth. He adds this place is between dream and reality, mind and matter. It appears that the contract I signed was for this exact reason, but he seems to want to assist me in any ways necessary as long as I abide by the contract I signed. And I agree to that, which awarded me a velvet key, seeming to be a key to see him again when the time calls for it, as mysterious man Igor says goodbye. April 9th. The day started with Junpei talking about the courage boost he gets when he dozes off in lectures, which I personally don't like doing, so I stayed up for Mr. Koda's lesson, getting an academic boost. But man, Junpei won't let me go, as he doesn't take the hint that I'm busy and drags me to Polonia Mall. It's a neat enough place. There's a coffee shop, a police station, a club and some shops, and then an arcade, which I had to watch Junpei bomb at, but it wasn't all too bad, I guess, as I headed back to the dorm later than I expected, crashing in my bed, left to wonder what the key I was given really is. Suddenly I was jolted up by a shake as Takeba burst into my room. It seems that something is going on, something serious by her face, as she gives me a weapon to defend myself with, and we go to escape. Mitsuru gets in contact with her and warns her that there's something out there, so we go a different exit. I don't know how the roof is going to help, not a good jumper, but better than nothing.
No way! That's it! One of the monsters that attacked us! It's a shadow!
It's here.
Wait.
Go on.
So. I am thou. Thou art I. From the sea of thy soul I cometh. I am Orpheus, master of strings.
Just as we thought.
Is it over? No! No! Get away from me!
Okay, at this point, I just can't put into words what the hell is going on. It's a little bit overwhelming, but the only thing I can do now is to protect Takuba, and that's what I do. Mission complete.
Are you okay? Oh, come on! Can you hear me?
It's so good to see you again. You lost consciousness after awakening to your power. Ooh, I see that it was Orpheus who heeded your call. Very interesting. That was the power of persona, the manifestation of your psyche. A persona is a facet of your personality that surfaces as you react to external stimuli. You can think of it as a mask that protects you as you brave many hardships. The power of a persona is the power of one's soul. And the soul is as you form these bonds by becoming involved with others. Your own social links will gradually develop. The strength of these social links will foster the growth of your persona abilities. Please remember this. Now then. Time marches on in your world. I shouldn't keep you here any longer. Next time we meet, you will come here of your own accord. Until then, farewell.
I awake from what I can only assume a coma. Takebe was there to greet me, asking how I felt. I'm left to really ask where I was, and from the room, it was the Tatsumi Memorial Hospital. Thankfully, there's nothing wrong with me, just exhaustion took over my body. She then apologizes for not being able to help, but then talks about my power, which I inquire about. She tells me that it's a persona, and the things that I defeated were a thing called shadows. But apparently they'll explain it in more detail another time. However, she adds that she can relate to me. I ask why she's telling me this, as like her, apparently she lost a parent when she was young, and isn't on the best terms with her mother. I guess she read my file, and decided to share hers. Her father died in an explosion while working in a lab the Karijo group owned. It's the reason she is here to find out more about what happened to her father. She then once again apologizes for me having to go through all of that by myself, but I decided to open up a tiny bit, admitting at my own fear. I never really thought I would open up to someone here. I guess things can change, as she tells me that she'll inform everyone I'm doing okay, and I can go back to the dorm once I've recovered, which I eventually do, but mainly because my bed is way more comfy. April 18th, and we're already going back to school. Junpei was already jumping on my case, wondering where I was, brushing it off, wanting to tell me something. This man is just full of energy. It's hard to understand what he's talking about half the time, but Takebe heard he's yelling, but she wanted to inform me that the chairman wants to talk to me. Junpei thinks I've done something wrong, but I have a feeling that it's something persona related, or something like that, so that's something to look forward to as I head to class and get a question right, leaving the afternoon to arrive. Takebe asks if I want to walk home with her. I ask the obvious rumor question, but she doesn't really seem bothered by it. Worried about the chance of me passing out more than anything, so I can't disagree with that. As we head home safe and sound, she adds that she's going to go ahead, so I put my stuff in my locker and head to the 4th floor. The chairman thanks me for coming and I take a seat. I also get formally introduced to Sanada. His name is familiar, but I didn't expect him to look like that. But forget that when Ikutsuki says something genuinely stupid.
Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
Regardless of that being a weird question, they explain all of the weird things that happened on my first time coming, like things being frozen in time and coffins all around. They call it the Dark Hour, a period between one day and the next. It does sound like complete nonsense, but regardless, it happens and it will happen every night to come. Ordinary people can't see it, sleeping in their coffins, but the thing that makes it different are the shadows. They roam during the dark hour and attack people free from their coffins. That's all interesting, even if it just sounds like fantasy, but they finally get to the main point. They're a part of SEAS, an acronym for a long word I don't want to say, and are classified as a club with Karijo as the leader and Ikutsuki as the advisor. I also get informed that the apathy syndrome that's been around is caused by shadows consuming people who escape their coffins. I ask how one can fight them, and that's when I get explained what a shadow is. It's a rare occurrence that can happen and is the only means that we can fight them, which means that I am one of the very few who can face them. I get where this is going, and honestly, my life doesn't have too much direction in it, so this will be something to do at the very least. So I agree to join with this working out, including the Torms, which I'm suspecting some tomfoolery happened in that department. A bond forms between all of us, being the Full Arcana. Which reminds me that Igor did say something about the Arcana, but I forget. But with joining Seas and one more shitty pun, I finally get some rest.
Hi, how have you been? I'm always by your side. Soon, the end will come. I remembered, so I thought I should tell you. Really? Well, if you say so. To be honest, I don't have much to tell you anyway. More importantly, it looks like you've awakened to your power. And what an unusual power it is. A power that takes many forms, yet is bound by none. It might even prove to be your salvation, depending on where you end up. Do you remember when we first met? I expect you to honor your commitment. I'm always watching you, even if you forget about me. Okay then, see you later.
April 19th. Nothing eventful happened today until I wanted to get some shut-eye. It seemed that Sonata had a surprise for us. Someone he wanted to introduce to us, as I heard a familiar voice. It was Junpei. We were both shocked, but if he is coming to stay with us, then that likely means, and he confirms it, Junpei has a persona. Seeing that he awakened to his power, I like to imagine that he was swinging randomly. Junpei seems like a blockhead to do something like that, though by the sounds of it, he's quite confident, must have only seen the coffins, which apparently made him bull his eyes out. But I do wonder how he would actually fare in a real battle, which might come sooner as we're going to have a look at Tartarus. Wait, no, I meant Tartarus. Damn it, Junpei. Apparently it holds the secret to that place, so I have something big to look forward to tomorrow. Well, besides school, that is. April 20th. I'm heading to school and Junpei seems all gung-ho, hyped up and ready to go for tonight. I am glad he's ready to go, but I worry that he isn't taking the threat of the shadows too seriously. But we'll have to see if his pride will be his downfall. But then we go to school and get told by Kirijo that we'll be meeting at the 4th floor of the dorm to discuss what's going on tonight. And as she's a busy woman, she leaves, which is fair enough, I guess. And as soon as school started, it ended. Me and Junpei went home together. Sadly, an incident caused us to be late due to someone jumping in the way of the train. Since the apathy syndrome cases have spiked, so have jumpers apparently. But we're getting late for the meeting, so we should probably start rushing, even if Junpei is quite peckish. But we eventually got back to the dorm. Ikutsuki wants our attention. Due to their increase of members, at the dark hour we'll be going to Tartarus. Apparently it's something that only appears during the dark hour. So I guess that's why it's assumed it's the cause of everything bad. However, from the sounds of it, we're not simply defeating shadows. We're going to destroy the Dark Hour itself, which I would assume that would stop the apathy syndrome, or at least that's the sound of it. I won't lie, I'm actually getting a little pumped, but due to Sonata still dealing with his injuries, he won't be joining us inside. It will just be me, Junpei, and Takeba, with Ikutsuki staying back since he can't use a persona. And with that, we get going. But for some reason, he brought us to our school. I am confused, but we get to see something interesting.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
Labyrinth? What are you talking about? What happened to our school?
Once the dark hour passes, everything will return to normal.
This is the nest you were talking about? But why? Why'd our school turn into a giant tower? You don't know either?
No.
I'm sure it's complicated.
If we don't know, we'll just have to find out. Mitsuru and I have only gone in to take a peek. This will be our first time exploring it. Exciting, huh? There's gotta be something in there. Hopefully some sort of clue about the Dark Hour.
Akihiko, I respect your enthusiasm, but you won't be exploring it today.
I know. You don't have to keep reminding me.
We enter the labyrinth, and it's an interesting sight to be sure, maybe a tad creepy as well, but it's simply the entrance. Apparently there's more past the stairway, but now we're left to decide on a captain, and sadly, they chose me. They're both shocked by that, but it does make some sense, as I have a little more experience. Suddenly the key that Igor gave me shined, and a mysterious door appeared before me, and I felt compelled to open it.
I've been waiting for you. The time has come for you to wield your power. The tower that you are about to venture into. How did it come? Regrettably, you are not yet capable of answering these questions. That is why you must be made aware of something before you go any further. You must understand the nature of your power. The door you just passed through is the entrance to this realm. Of course, no one but you can see it. Your power is unique. It is like the number 0. Empty, but at the same time, holding infinite possibilities. You, my boy, are able to possess multiple personas and summon them at will. And when you have defeated your enemies, you will see the faces of possibility before you. There may be times when they are difficult to grasp, but do not fear. See, your power will grow accordingly. Be sure to keep that in mind. Now then, my spare time will soon be scarce. Next time, once again, may you open the door and come here of your own accord. I'll tell you then about my true role, the manner in which I can best assist you. Until we meet again, farewell.
When I came back to the normal world, they looked at me confused, wondering what's up. Junpei is shocked that I would doze off at a time like this, but Takaba tells him to cut me some slack. But regardless of that, we should get going and see what tartar sauce is all about.
So, it's the real deal from here on, huh?
Looks easy to get lost in.
Can you all hear me?
Whoa! Is that you, Senpai?
I'll be providing audio backup from here on out.
Wait, are you saying you can see this place from all the way out there?
It's my persona's ability. The structure of Tartarus actually changes from day to day. I'd like to join you up there, but we need someone to provide outside support.
That's even more concerning.
Now, based on your current location, you can expect to encounter enemies at any time. They shouldn't be too tough, but proceed with caution. You'll get the hang of it as you go.
Right.
Got it. Why is she always like that?
I don't really want to get into too much of the details of this area, as it's pretty much just a tutorial area. All that matters is they awaken to their personas, we explore Tartarus a bit, open some treasure, take down shadows, and get used to what we're going to be up against. And with that, we head back, and I feel absolutely sapped of energy. The others feel the same. Apparently the Dark Hour has that effect on people, and we'll have to get accustomed to it in the future. But with that, I feel our bond has grown closer, and I call it a night. April 21st. As I'm heading to school, someone in my class introduces themselves. His name was Kenji. He has the same energy as Junpei, so I have a certain level of wariness with him, but it doesn't matter right now, as we need to get to the assembly. In that assembly, we get to see that Kirijo was elected as the class president, which means that we get to hear a speech, and what a speech it was.
As I begin my term as Student Council President, it is my firm belief that each of us must accept the responsibility. However, change cannot occur without sustained effort. That is why we must restructure our daily lives in order to rise to this challenge. I'd like each of you to dig deeply into your well of motivation and reevaluate your convictions. Strive to imagine a bold new future without losing sight of the realities around you. That is the key. My own ideas are but one person's vision. For us to reap the full benefits of our education, your participation, opinions, and enthusiasm, thank you.
Pretty compelling stuff, to be honest, but Junpei didn't really catch all that she was saying, asking if I may have, and I feigned that I totally did, and he believes that if anyone else said it, we'd be laughing, which I can kinda agree with that. Kirijo has her certain level of aura to herself, and throughout the day I sat on a very boring lesson, but I endured it for a knowledge boost. With that class over, I am practically dragged by Junpei to go to the mall to stock up for the eventual day that we head back to Tartarus. And on our way there, we see that Sanada is popular with the ladies, as Junpei tells me that he's the captain of the boxing team and hasn't lost. It's pretty impressive, to be honest, but he loses me with the whole harem manga talk. Sanada sees us and asks if we're free. Junpei is caught off guard, but totally is, as I ask him about the fate of the world. He brushed that off, of course, and Sanada's happy to hear, and it sounds like we're going to the police station, as he brushes off the girls flocking over him and he leaves. Junpei is very much jealous, but I couldn't really care less, so we go to the police station. We get introduced to Kurosawa. He works there and he helps be stocked up and he has his own connections. We're even given 5,000 yen to make some purchases, but the sounds of it, he knows what's up with the shadows and simply wants to keep peace. And that's why he is helping us. That sounds good to me, as I stock up and leave the station. Junpei is surprised at it, but calls Ikutsuki stingy for only giving us 5,000 yen, but at least he gave us anything, dude. Suddenly, an alarm goes off on Junpei's phone. A show he likes is on and he's not gonna miss it. Leaving me to spend the rest of the day by myself, I decide to simply study in the day, and at night I go to the cafe. Apparently there's a part-time gig on Tuesdays, and I need the money to, save the world. So I go in and work a shift for some money and some social points. And that was my Tuesday. April 22nd. The day starts and Kenji asks for the truth about me and Takuba heading to school together. I confirm, but only for the first day. He replies that he doesn't really care all that much, and talks about people hearing voices and wonders if since I haven't heard them, it's due to my headphones. We'll go with that. And we head inside, but the Kenji train has no end, as he wants to grab some ramen. I ask why out of the blue, but he simply has nothing going on today, and wants something to do, and I end up agreeing, but only because of Igor. For a Finn guy, he really loves the ramen, wanting to know the secret of it, and meaning he geeks out every time he's here. I simply tell him to eat his damn food. The conversation goes to me and Takuba going to school again, and eventually to his own relationship, mentioning a secret plan he's got in motion, and the next time we talk, he'll tell me about it. so I guess I'm in this for the long haul, and suddenly I feel our bond has grown close, showing itself to be the Magician Arcana. And with that exchange of numbers and him realizing he missed one of his favorite shows, we go our separate ways. And during the night, I once again work at the cafe for some yen and social boosts. April 23rd. I head inside the school and overheard something that I find quite interesting. Apparently, the track team are recruiting new members. Honestly, I need something to do after school, and there's likely a social link hiding on that field, so I go and apply. They seem fine enough. The team lead is a woman named Yuko, and the guy who I'll be having a bond with is named Miyamoto. But apparently he knows me due to me and Takaba being seen on the first day. Okay, seriously, why is it so deep for so many people? I mustn't see the vision. However, he gives me his name and asks if I know him, and I feign that I do, but long story short, I'm his after school. Jeez, at least buy me dinner first. However, I do kinda like his competitive spirit. It has a certain spark, and that spark was a social link, showing itself to be the Chariot Arcana. With that, Yuko tells me the days the club is on, and she'll make sure that I have my uniform for next time, and I head on home. Not before seeing Yuko again. I ask if she'd like to head home together, and she is busy, so I just go on by myself. Not before taking a quick pit stop to have a prodigy platter to boost my academics. April 24th. When I entered the school, I overheard two students talking, and it was about the apathy syndrome, but then slowly turned into activities I may be able to do after school, so I keep that noted in my head and head into the mall. To do some fusing with my knowledge of Persona, I know that I'll need a Persona that matches Kenji's Arcana to get more boosts, so I do that and then go to meet him. I'm just dying to know what his secret plan of his was. The ramen was just as good as last time, and then he asked about why my dorm is co-ed, asking if I go inside Takaba's room. I say that's a secret, and he teases and then says he's not interested in girls Takaba's age. I seriously doubt that with the amount of times he brings her up, but then he admits that he likes older women. I can agree with that. Older women have their charms, but not too old. Unfortunately, Kenji isn't like me. His secret plan is asking a girl out, but not just any girl, a teacher at our school. I don't know what to say about that. I know his secret and our bond gets closer, but what? Before I can even ask any questions or just tell him not to do that, a show that he watches is coming up and he leaves me to be stunned by what I heard. But on my way home, I decided to have another prodigy platter. So, what the hell is going on with that Kenji kid's head? I never know. April 25th. I've learned I'm a master of eavesdropping, as I overhear students talking about a bookstore that has opened, and it piques my curiosity. So after school, I head there and enter. It was owned by a lovely looking elderly couple. He notices I'm from Gekkokan and asks if I know about a persimmon tree. I don't think I have, as he tells me it's in the courtyard, but his wife tells me not to pay his rambles any mind, but it does catch my curiosity. So I head back to school, and sure enough, there's a persimmon tree. I decide to take a leaf to show the elderly couple, and I head back. The old man does his classic nonsense, but then notices a leaf in my hand, asking if it's from the tree, knowing it must have grown quite a bit to produce splendid leaves, adding that I'm not here to buy books just to show them that, and I admit as such. He is happy knowing I was a kind young man, admitting he's been needing to see it, but unsure if his legs will make it, and makes a pun that would make the chairman die. And then with a formal introduction of the man, his name was Bunkichi, and his wife Mitsuko, and me giving mine, a bond starts to form, showing itself to be the Hierophant Arcana. And Mitsuo tells me when they're open, and with that, we go our separate ways. And I stay because, the prodigy platter. April 26. The day starts and I check my phone for invitations. Since I'm starting some social links, people actually want to hang out. That was sadly Kenji. Thankfully, he didn't mention his secret plan, instead we talk about ramen, and he asked if I'm a picky eater. I admit that I don't like eating certain things, and he totally gets my feelings. For him, it's like funguses and seafood, but especially things that are like roots and leaves. Personally, I just don't like things grilled, just not a fan of the texture. I feel like I understand him more until he gets into my type of girl. Going on his tangent, I know what type of girl I would like, one that isn't annoying. Joking aside, I enjoy my time with Kenji, and during the night I try out that burger joint, and it's not bad. I could even say I got 2 points in my courage, and that was my Sunday. April 27th. The day has started and I overhear 2 students talking. Apparently we're having an assembly in the morning. It seems like the principal wants to try and one-up Kirijo after her amazing speech, so it looks like that's in the cards for me as I head there, and sure enough, despite bringing up the apathy syndrome cases, which Kirijo didn't, the rest is practically her speech. I guess he's desperate to not be one-up by a student. With that, I can finally go to class, which is when Kirijo herself comes up to me, wanting something from me, but she'll explain more after school, piquing my interest, but I won't know for now. While in class, I totally didn't cheat to get the answer, and soon school was over, which I finally get to hear what this favor was. Simply, she wants me to join the student council. She can trust me and I don't need to come every time, just on occasion. I do ask why specifically me, and despite the trust part, I am the leader of our little persona group. She believes I know what it means to be a leader, so I guess I'll have to concede and agree to that. But by the sounds of it, she already made the decision for me on my behalf, which is a little bit dodgy, but she asked me to understand the position that she's in, which I don't have any idea what she means by that, but I decided to just suck it up and go meet my teacher to get all the paperwork done, and then head to the council. It was just 3 people: Kirijo, Odagiri, the supervisor of disciplinary committee, and Chihiro, the treasurer. They seem like good enough people, but Odagiri has a certain smugness to him. But he does have a small amount of respect for me, likely due to being handpicked by Kirijo herself. As I feel a bond start to appear, showing itself to be the Emperor Arcana. With that, she gives me permission to come back and gives me the days that they're together. And that's that. As for during the night, I decide to work at the cafe for those social points and yen. April 28th. I'm in the school. Kirijo cuts me off, asking if I've gotten used to school life. I admit that I haven't just yet. She tells me that if I need help, I can see her in the lounge, or at the dorm, and then subtly hints about Tartarus. But I pretend not to hear it, as I head to school, which ended uneventfully, leaving me to hang out with Kenji. We're back at the ramen joint, and it's as good as always. The flavor is really enhanced by the broth. As Kenji admits that he's sick of this, I ask, what, life? He replies I watch too much TV, but admits that I could say that he's sick of life, talking about his endless cycle of school, eat, watch TV, and sleep. Which, I mean, that's kinda your fault, dude, so do something else. Unfortunately, his monotonous life has sprung up his secret plan once more, saying that the teacher's name was Miss Canal. She teaches third-year ethics, and they work well. He then goes into more detail, which leads me to question things, as I feel our bond has grown closer. And with that, we walk home together. But since I was already out, I decided to go work at the cafe for the social points and yen. April 29th. I've got a day off of school, which means that I can do what I want. That's when I remembered that the line that was destroyed due to certain events has been fixed, and as such, we now have access to the internet, and Junpei, being that guy, has set me up with an online game called Innocent Sin Online. I boot it up, and it looks quite outdated. I am welcomed by the admin named Phil. He kinda talks like Igor. I wonder what that's all about. Suddenly, a player appears in front of me. She talks in a long-forgotten lingo called internet speak. She seems quite chill, to be honest, talking about out of character and stuff like that. She gives me a name, Tatsuya, and then she changes her name to Maya. She then cracks a joke that I pretend to understand. This person's definitely older, especially bringing up her days off. I'm left to really wonder who this person is, but I guess the whole online anonymity thing works that, they could be across the planet, for all I know. As I feel our bond start to form, showing itself to be the Hermit Arcana. With that, she decides to log off for the day, and during the night I decide since I can buy some PC software at the mall, I go do that, and due to me being a very macho man, I play with some cartoon animals to boost my small courage. April 30th. When I arrived to class, I overheard 2 students talking. They were discussing something I already know, but if I didn't, I'd likely be going to the mall to buy some. Instead, I have to sit through Mr. Odegawa's talking. He talks for a long time. After school, I decide to hang out with Kenji, but he mentions a person who's known for his food opinions. Some call him the Gourmet King. Suffice to say that it catches my interest. So I head over to the mall and go talk to this so-called king, but he's more interested in stuffing his face than having a conversation. So I should work on my charm in my free time, as I decide to go back to school and hang out with Kenji. We're in the corridor where the tree lies, and he's getting really into it. He's gonna ask Kanao out right now. This is going to fail, but I'll hype him up anyways. It'll be entertaining at least, as he runs on in, and sure enough, he somehow did it. But by the way he's talking about it, he might have just gotten the idea of a private lesson as something more. But I'll let him keep his illusions as our bond grows stronger. I do worry about that guy sometimes, especially with the ideas in his head, but I don't think there's any stopping that man, so I'll let him be for now as I head home. When I get home, Kirijo is ready for me, saying I haven't been to Tartarus in 10 days, thinking it might have been a mistake making me leader, and hoping I don't disappoint her further. We're going to Tartarus today. I try and reply, but I know I can't win this, letting it happen. I try my luck inside, however, but she will not let me leave just yet. I have to do this. I feel like if I tried to run, she'd snap me like a twig. So I go inside with the fear of death in my heart. Now, since this is the first level of Tartarus and SP is quite low, there's not really much to talk about, except for the tutorials that occur, so instead, we'll talk about the main fights. On floor 5, we verse the Ice Ravens. By their name, their weakness is very obvious, which me and Junpei had covered. Simple Agi attacks and all-out attacks pretty much made the fight a joke. On the 11th floor, we face the Barbaric Beast Wheel. It also had allies, but they weren't really that important. His affinity weakness was Wind, which both me and Takaba had, so the fight was easily won. And finally, at floor 17, we face the only actual fight, the Swift Axle. The only reason it was a real fight is my Pixie did not have Zeo yet. All I had for electric coverage was 2 Mazio crystals, which I used rather fast to stack up damage. It was overall resistant to our other attacks and would pretty much kill Junpei in one hit. There were times where I was slightly worried, but with enough grit, we took it down.
Alright, you won. Great work out there.
After a long hard-fought battle, we push all the way to the 22nd floor, and this is where we were greeted with a wall. It seems that our travel has been impeded for the time being, which isn't the end of the world, as I'm happy that with the exploration we've done today, and the personas that I've collected. Good we finished here, I barely have any SP to cast any spells, as we teleport back and call it a night.